Great. That's great.
Okay, let me ask you again because now that I just started the recording, Jock, do you guys mind if the Smera Club, records this meeting?
Fine with me.
Okay, and Fred, do you have any objections for the Smera Club to record this meeting?
Fine by me.
Okay, the meeting will probably go up on my YouTube channel, and the easiest way to get to it is by looking up my call sign, which is N2PEQ. What's on QRZ?
All right, so we have Jock Elliott, KB2GOM, and sorry, I forgot Fred's call.
W2EMS.
Thank you. Jacques has been running the Capital District Commuter Net for it's been what, 22 decades, 20 years thereabouts.
23 or 24 years.
Yep, and that is it started out channel 9, and then it went to 2 meters, and
I'll get into that.
Okay, I was just trying to give you somewhat of an introduction. My apologies.
I appreciate it. No.
Well, then, without any further ado, I defer the meeting to Jacques Elliott and Fred, W2EMS.
Thank you. Okay, Fred.
Okay. I just have to get a few things started here. Give us just a minute.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Not ready yet.
Okay.
Okay, Jock, you should be all set to go, sir.
Okay, great. All right. Well, first of all, thanks, fellas, for having us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to talk tonight about the Capital District Commuter Assistance Net. So let me see. Well, Fred, I hit the space bar and it didn't work.
Okay, if you take your mouse and you mouse over on top of the first slide.
Yes.
And once you see your mouse over on the first slide,
yeah,
then you'll be able to hit your space bar and it should move forward.
Okay, let me give it a shot. No. How about I click my mouse?
Try it.
Nope.
All right, there you go.
All right. The net was started by Ed Barnett into RKA. Ed, if you remember, used to do traffic reporting on a local radio station. It started out with CB Channel 9, and then he also included 2 meters. And just to be clear, because some people tried to get him in trouble about this, he was getting paid for doing the traffic reporting and not for running the net. Now, Ed had to change jobs. And when that happened, a couple of other people tried to run the net for a while, and it didn't, they had some problems. So one morning I was, the repeater controller said, forbid the other people from running the net on the repeater, and said if I wanted to continue it, I was it. So I was suddenly thrust into being net control in 1996. And I did what Ed did for a while. I ran it on CB Channel 9 and on 2 meters for several years. But one day I realized that I hadn't taken a legitimate call on CB Channel 9 for a couple of years, and I switched off the rig and haven't looked back. We run every workday morning from 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock until 8:15. Now that timing is a little curious, but at the time I was thrust into being net control, I still had a regular job. I wasn't retired yet. And 8:15 was as late as I could go and still get to work on time. So that's how it wound up being 2.25 hours a day. So we run 2.25 hours a day, 250 days a year. Been doing it for roughly 24 years, and I did the rough calculation. It's something like 13,000 hours as net control. Over the years, well over 150 hams have participated in the network. We're very unbureaucratic. One of the things I'm proudest of is we've managed all these years with no dues, no bylaws, and only 3 meetings, and all of those were for pie and coffee, which is really important. Everybody's welcome, absolutely everybody. We don't run it like a boot camp. Just show up, check in, and if you listen for a while, you figure out what to do real fast. We have only 2 rules. The prime directive, cueing to the Star Trek theme of one of the guys' backgrounds, don't cause anything. The other rule is, when in doubt, report anyway. All right, let's see if I can, I guess you'll have to advance the slide, Fred. We operate, the primary frequency is 14694, open, no tone, the big 94. And if you want to know more, see if I can do this. No, Fred, could you click on the big 94 over there?
You got it. You got it. You're moving it.
I clicked on it, but
Try again. There you go. It's working.
I don't see it. I see it turn. It
Hold
turns.
on.
Okay.
1 second.
All right. All right. There we go. And if you'd be kind enough, Fred, to, well, maybe I can do it. No, that's not working. If you, there we go. If you go to the Big 94 website and click on the Commuter Assistance Net tab and then scroll down, you'll find 3 articles there that have appeared. One was in the Troy Record, another one was in QST, and another one was in CQ. So if you're wildly curious about the net, you can read more about it there. Okay, can we exit out of that?
Okay, either you can do it and I can do it, but we both can't do it at the same time.
Okay, you do it then, please.
Okay,
All right.
there we go.
Okay. Well, back up one. We have 2 purposes. The first one is to detect problems on the roadway and report it to authorities. Now, when I first ran the net, I used to keep this big sheet of all the local authorities, you know, the little towns and cities and the police departments, and had all the phone numbers. Now I simply call the traffic command center in Latham. It's in the same room, by the way, with the state police dispatchers, Troop G. I call them and they dole out the information to whoever needs to receive it. And it's pretty cool to see what happens. And another thing that we use is the 511 New York map. So like just the other day, we had an incident. Somebody called it in, disabled vehicle on I-90. It looked like somebody had shredded a tire. I called Traffic Command Center, said, hey, we got a disabled vehicle on I-90, I think it was I-90 eastbound, 8.3. And they said they would dispatch a help truck, and we were monitoring the 511 New York map. And very presently, the incident popped up on the map. And the second purpose we have is to share the information with net participants. And I've heard from several commuters who were very happy with the amount of time they saved by knowing about problems, for example, in the Northway, and being able to avoid those. Now, why do we do it? When I first started running the net, my thinking was, if my wife and my son were out there and they broke down, this is before everybody and his brother had a cell phone, I thought, well, gee, I'd want somebody to get them some help. Now, a lot of people have cell phones and a lot of people want to help out, but they aren't trained reporters. And what I've been told from some of the dispatchers is they'll get a call and they'll say, well, we got a crash on the Northway. And then they'll say, okay, where is it? And then they don't know because they're not in the habit of keeping track of what exit are they near or what mile sticker are they near. And the folks who participate in the net, after a while, they become trained reporters and they present the proper information very efficiently. And philosophically, I see myself kind of like one of the old light keepers. My job is to make sure that the lamp is lit and the mirror is polished, whether or not there's a storm. And you just never know when things are going to happen. Okay. Next one, Fred. All right. I use a Motorola commercial radio as my main rig. It's I use an ICOM V80 with a high performance antenna for when I'm wandering around the kitchen. I have a Uniden 396T scanner locked onto the throughway UHF frequencies and a Uniden 125AT that I use for scanning various analog frequencies. Often the state police VHF frequencies, VHF frequencies. And then my big gun scanner is a Uniden SDS 200. Now, Fred, if you'd, I did a little video tour of the operating setup. Fred, if you could activate that. Okay, this is a brief video tour of the operating position for the Commuter Assistance Network. Down here is the big gun for the operation. This is a Motorola mobile unit. We operate primarily on the Big 940, but as you can see, this radio will also scan the state police frequencies. We use it to do that. The other radio I use for transmitting is this ICOM V80, which I use when I'm out and about wandering around the kitchen. The main scanner that I use is a SDS 200. I use that for monitoring local digital frequencies, fire and police. And then over here, I have a Uniden 396T, which is locked onto the New York State Thruway VHF or UHF frequencies. And then
Did I do that?
What's that?
Did I do that?
I don't know. I didn't touch it.
Okay, I didn't either.
All right.
So I'm not. I mean, I shut my video off, but I didn't think it shut anything else off.
No, it just everything got weird.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I also have a laptop that I use to monitor the 511 New York map, and there you can see the area I keep an eye on, and you can see that little red circle with the exclamation point is an active incident. If you click on that, you get a description of the incident. Okay. All right, that's the end of the video, I think. All right, that's the antenna I use, a little quarter wave stuck to a, I think it's a 2x6 nailed to the side of the deck. And I'm going to be upgrading that. I've got a commercial grade antenna that I'm going to put up, but it works real well. And I'm in Brunswick, east of Troy, and I can get full quieting easily on Big 9.4 with my handy talkie. And 5 watts, so I don't need a lot of power. One of the interesting things about the Motorola radio that I use is being a commercial rig, it's real inflexible. If you want to add new frequencies or make changes to it, you have to do it by programming it hooked up to a computer. But the big upside of it is that it has a very, very clean transmitter. I used to run the net using an ICOM 706, and I had to throttle the power back to 7 watts to keep from getting into stuff in the house. And with the Motorola, I'm running 14 watts, and I don't interfere with anything in the house. And I pretty much own the machine. I key up, I capture it. So anyway, next. We've had some notable bad days on the net. And this goes to the point that you can't tell when things are going to happen. You would think that, oh, gee, it's got to be a winter day that terrible stuff happens. No, there was one spring morning when, a bright sunny day, puffy white clouds, God's in his heavens, all is right with the world. And a fuel oil truck rolled over coming out of exit 24 on the thruway and spread, 5,000 gallons of fuel everywhere. And things went from, it's a lovely spring day to all hell's breaking loose in 5 minutes, and we had multiple incidents. The absolute worst day ever, though, was the Martin Luther King Day a few years ago when the net had been quiet until 7:30 in the morning. And then an ice storm blew through. And the state police wound up closing the Northway. And the way we run the net is if it gets real busy, we triage up. So most of the time, if you see a disabled vehicle by the side of the road, report it. But if you're having a lot of accidents, that's a minor thing. And we were triaged up so far that we were only calling TMC when we had a multiple car accident where there were known injuries. So we took 70 calls in 2 hours that day. It was just nuts. And probably the third worst day was the propane truck that caught on fire on alternate 7. And thanks to Fred, a little bit later in this presentation, we'll have video of that. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to encourage everybody to participate in the net. I'd like to encourage you to check in even if you're not commuting. Now, why would I do that? This is a commuter assistance net. Well, the reason is ARRL folks have asked me to keep just a hashtag, hash mark count of the number of check-ins we have each day. And that information I send, I report it. And once a month, a report goes down to Washington with reports from lots of other people. And it helps to justify our use of the frequencies. So like voting in Chicago, check in early and often. All right, now, if you are out and about on the road, and you remember rule 2 is when in doubt, report anyway. But here's how to report. Very first thing we need is the location. A report without a location is basically useless, with a few very rare exceptions. Next is, what is it? Is it a disabled vehicle? Is it in traffic or not? Is anybody with it? If it's a crash, how many vehicles are involved? Are they in the traffic lanes? Are there any injuries? And obviously, if something looks like it's on fire, we want to know that. And if there's been a chemical spill, we want to know that kind of thing. We've had some really funny things too. What is that? What's the bridge going into the plaza? Is that the Dunn Memorial? I forget. Anyway, they were working on that. The bridge that goes from Rensselaer over to the Albany, the Empire State Plaza. And they were working on it, making a meal of it. They had a guys are working up there. They had a porta potty, and one guy went in there to do God's business early in the morning and have a smoke, and he dropped the lit smoke into the porta potty, and very presently it caught on fire and was in danger of melting down. So, and when we, if somebody reports a disabled vehicle, the first question that gets asked after the location is it occupied? So one morning, 787 southbound, one of the hams gets on and says, there's a mattress in the right lane. Is it occupied? Turned out I made a little ham history. I didn't know it until years later, but I showed up on a couple of ham blogs. The fellow who reported it thought that was very funny. All right, next. All right, I think, here we go. I think this is the video, Fred, isn't it?
Sure is.
Now this video was taken, Fred has a pair of 007 spy sunglasses with a video camera built in, and that's how he was able to capture this and still drive safely. And there it is.
All your information is confirmed, Jack. We have fully involved on the tractor side, loader side, load, westbound. Got the traffic shut down going westbound, but the eastbound traffic is still moving. We also have several vehicles trying to go westbound that are all turning around in the median here, trying to go back eastbound as well. Roger that. So that's your courtesy and caution of that as on the eastbound side. That's affirmative. Still no fire apparatus on the scene there. Roger that. Well, I'm sure it's on the way.
So now you know why I describe the net as sometimes as hours of boredom punctuated by seconds of sheer terror. Okay, and I think, yes, now these are photos courtesy of the Traffic Command Center. They had a camera nearby, and they were kind enough to send us these stills. Just click through these. It was the cab that was fully involved. It turns out the propane, so long as it doesn't get vaporized, isn't that dangerous in the presence of fire. Fire guys arrive on scene. Okay, now stop with this one. Now you see that white stuff? Everybody assumes that fire suppressing foam. My theory is it's testosterone. All right. And that's the kind of backup we had. Okay, now here's a recent incident. We just added this to the presentation just the other day. This is an example of why we have a net. There was a one of those container trucks, you know, that has the shipping containers that might come off a railroad car or off a ship and gets loaded onto the back of the trailer. And it was going around that ramp and it tipped over. And Walt, I can't remember his call sign. Into WJR, heard it on his scanner first. He had it in his hip pocket at work. He gave me a call. He says, I think there's something going on. We started talking about it. One of the fellows, I think it was AB6GF, said, why don't you check the traffic cams? KD4QOD did that. He was able to see this image. This image was supplied to us by TMC and give us an additional update. And then just a few moments later, one of the hams actually drove through the area and was able to tell us how many lanes were closed and what was going on. And why is that important? Because we think, although I can't prove this in a court of law, we think that there are a number of hams and scanner enthusiasts who listen to the frequency in the morning and pick up traffic information. It's kind of like talk radio, a long-time listener, first time or no time caller. We think there are people out there who tune into the frequency and track what's going on. So the fact that multiple hams participate in reporting on that incident gave us a clear picture of it. And we were able to put it out over the air so people could avoid the area. And the help trucks do a lot of things, and we help not directly, but by calling the traffic management center, we help to dispatch the help truck, especially when you get a disabled vehicle, somebody with a flat. They have cameras, but they don't have universal coverage, and they need to be pointed in the right direction. So these are some of the things the help trucks do. Like this morning, I followed one up the Northway, and they provide a valuable service. And that's the routes that the help trucks cover. All right, now this is Fred. Perhaps you'd like to explain about your 007 spy glasses?
Sure, I'll take just a moment. So the video you saw with the propane truck, I just so happened to be wearing these super secret spy glasses that day. So I didn't have to take my hands off the wheel or hold my cell phone up. I could just glance over and get some pretty good video and audio on those. And those are readily available over the internet, somewhere between $49 and $99, depending upon the brand that you get. And just plug a USB cord in it. You can download the audio and video. So it was really helpful to be able to do that.
All right, and to repeat, please check, like voting in Chicago, check in often. Why? Because we record the number of net participants daily, and monthly reports are sent to the ARES FCC to justify the use of the frequency. And as I said before, everybody is welcome. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. I couldn't hear that.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you're going to have to unmute yourselves.
What are the start and stop times of the net?
Started at 6 o'clock in the morning and we run till 8:15. And because I'm retired, a gentleman of leisure now, if we have something big going on, like a blizzard or whatever, we run longer. Very occasionally I run a net in the afternoon, and usually it's when we know we're going to have an all-day snow event or something, and I'll say, we'll be on the air starting at 3 o'clock. Announce it during the morning net.
Nobody else got any questions? You got somebody waiting in the wings? Are you grooming an apprentice?
I would very much like to. And by the way, we are an equal opportunity non-payer. We guarantee that regardless of your race, creed, color, proclivities, or whatever, you'll get no compensation whatsoever, and there is no health plan. And we do not include dental. So I just want to make sure we're above board on all that. Yeah, I would love to groom somebody, or perhaps a team of people, who would be willing to, like Joe will take Monday and Bob will take Tuesday, and that kind of thing. It would be great to do, and it's pretty easy to do. And I'd like to see this continue. I'm going to turn 75 here in a few days, so I don't know what my sell-by date is. I'd like to see the net continue.
That was an excellent presentation.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I've got to share. I've got a huge tip of the hat to Fred, who put the PowerPoint together, and I've got to share with you the best line ever, and it comes from Fred. One morning, it was probably around Thanksgiving. Around Thanksgiving, I like to make a point of thanking the guys who participate in the net. And I said, because without you, I'd just be this weird old guy sitting there with a radio. Fred, ever the supporter, said, Jock, even with the participants, you're still a weird old guy with a radio.
Thank you for what you do and what you presented here.
Oh, you're entirely welcome. And I hope you guys will check in. I really do. That would.
Very good. Make a point of it. Make a point of it. Thank you very much. Now that what I did want to ask, that 511.net, is that just pull that up on the on your browser?
Yeah, it's 511 New York.
Oh, New York.
511 New York. And it pops up a map of the New York State, and then there's a drop down you can click on the Capital District. And there's also a, what do they call, a legend where they have click boxes. So you can select the things. One of them is to look at the traffic cams. And some of that's very spotty. Some of them update like every few seconds, maybe every 30 seconds. Some do continuous video. So what you see is going to vary a lot depending upon what location. And also, I had the chance to visit the TMC. And they have like a Jumbotron in there. And there. Thanks, Fred. There you go. You can see up there, it's 511newyork.org.
Yep.
Okay. And they have in the room, they have this Jumbotron, and it's like, I'm not sure the exact count, but it might be a dozen really big screens all set together. And they can make it all one giant image, like if they're focusing on an incident, or they can have 12 different scenes up there. And they also have control of where there are the cameras. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But some of the cameras, they have the ability to point them in different directions. So what you see is going to depend upon what they've been looking at lately. Because a lot of times I'll call and I'll say, we've got a vehicle at this location, and there's one lady over there. Her name is Lynn, and I've been talking to her for at least 20 years. And she'll say, I'll try to get it on camera, and she'll swing it around and say, oh, there it is. I'll send the help truck. That kind of thing.
Are those images on the camera live?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get Now, see, this one is doing live video, but some of them are like time lapse. They update some interval, like every 30 seconds or something like that. So you don't get continuous motion.
Now I realize you don't do any dispatching, you only do reporting, but do you have radio interaction with like the help truck?
No, I don't. I've asked for that, but they don't want to give it to me.
28 years they don't trust you yet?
Apparently not. I gotta say though, one thing that really heartened me, two things. One is they call me back, and they'll call me if they've got an incident that I don't know about.
That's good.
The other thing is last summer they offered me a job over there.
Wow.
To be part of the traffic management center. I turned them down because they wanted me to do nights and weekends and, stuff like that. But I was honored to be asked.
Awesome.
And I think it's a, I don't know, it underscores the value they put on the net that they call us back. We have a good professional relationship.
Oh, that's what help makes it work. I mean, oh, it's you guys again. There been those days way in the past. You feel as though you're interrupting. I can remember where I would feel as though I'm interrupting a dispatcher's morning coffee, like calling an accident or something. But
Right.
you've developed a very professional rapport, and that's a testament to to what you do.
Well, we try to be professional, to be terse. Some days they're a little more chatty than others, but if you got like the day they closed the Northway, they don't want to hear from you unless something really bad's happened. Seriously. But it's a good collegial relationship. KB2GOM is helping me out sometimes to give me a day off, and he's a retired Navy guy, and he does a very professional job as well. And I said everybody's welcome. I'm really happy to do this.
Now, will you take calls from out of your immediate area? Let's say somebody's way up in Lake George and they have to get into the machine. I mean, will you take calls from it?
Sure. If somebody's got an incident, we'll take it. And, if it's way up north, I'll give it to TMC and they'll relay it to.
They'll route it. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. And the 9-4 has got a huge footprint.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
reach to Lake George, it'll reach down to Saugerties, it'll reach out past Amsterdam. The only place it won't reach is to the east because of the hump of the Berkshires. But it's an amazing, it was a really good repeater before, but Bob, K2RHI put in a new Motorola repeater, and he's got commercial antennas up there. We got 600 watts ERP.
Wow.
Yeah. We got bored. We fried doves for lunch,
Excellent. Anybody else got anything for Jock or Fred?
I just want to say I was not aware that you were taking check-ins from home stations because, of course, due to COVID, I know I'm one of the people who used to travel every morning. I've been home since March of last year, so that's why I haven't been checking in, but I'll try to remember to check in the morning when I get in front of the computer here in the morning.
Please do, and we'll probably, even if you say, I've got one guy from Delanson said checking in and out, but I'll give him the report anyway, like today, quiet morning. By the way, the net has a motto, and that is boring is our friend. But
This is
yeah,
true.
check in.
This is true. Well, we'll let you guys get back to your evenings. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Hey,
and
thank you.
we only wish you continued luck. And I'm retired now as well, so there's really other than sleeping in late, there's not much reason for me not to check in.
All right, look forward to it.
Thanks very much.